If you feel like you're putting in the work in the gym, but you're not seeing the results from your efforts, this might be why. You probably don't realise it, but we have people who exercise and then we have people who train. And whilst this difference may seem subtle at first, when expanded over weeks, months and even years, it's going to lead to a huge difference in the progress that person makes. If you walk into a gym, maybe jump on a treadmill to get started, have a quick scan around the machines that are free, jump on a few, do a few sets, maybe do a few sit-ups, burn a few calories, get a sweat on and then leave, you will have been to the gym to exercise. But let me just point out, this is a lot better than skipping the gym to watch TV. However, if you come to the gym with a plan, you know exactly what warm-up to go through, you know exactly what exercises you need to do, in what order, and most importantly, you've got little mini goals to hit in terms of reps, weights, times, etc., then you will have been to the gym to train. In short, exercising is random, but training is structured. And it has very little to do with the exact exercises. If I were to go for a run on a random sunny evening with no real goals in terms of distance, pace, or anything like that, but I'm just going for a run because I want to get out in the good weather, get a sweat on and feel good, then I would be exercising. However, if I were to go for a run on a specific day, regardless of the weather, because it's part of my plan, and I've got some sort of goal to hit in terms of distance or pace, then although the specific exercise hasn't changed, I will have made the shift from exercising to training. You'll exercise because you want to, you'll train because you plan to. It's the difference between motivation and discipline. Training will have you showing up and getting it done on the days that you don't feel like it, because you've planned to do it. Exercising won't. If you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to go. Exercising is great for getting a sweat on, burning a few calories, and ultimately feeling good. Again, so much better than not doing anything, so don't think I'm shitting on training. But when you make that shift from exercising to training, you make the shift from exercising to burn calories and for fat loss to training for a much better reason. Because here's the thing, we don't train for fat loss, we eat for fat loss, or rather we eat less for fat loss. That's what a calorie deficit is. So fat loss comes down to our nutrition, not our training, which means we can train for a better reason. We can train to get fitter, to get stronger, to build muscle, to improve our posture or improve our performance in a chosen sport or hobby. But there's no point training for fat loss. It's literally a wasted exercise. Sort your nutrition out for fat loss and train for something else. Now, making that shift from exercising to training is a lot easier than you think. First of all, you need a plan, and that plan doesn't need to be overly complex. You don't need to be training 6 days a week or doing 10 exercises per session. It can be as simple as you like, but it does need to be planned around your goals, your abilities, and your schedule, and your preferences too. You want to look forward to working at your program so you actually progress it. Step number 2, we need to apply the principle of progressive overload. And to me, progressive overload is simply seeking to get a little bit better each time that you do something. And this is where those little mini goals that I spoke about come in. You might look to increase the weight or lift for a few more reps, run a little bit further, row a little bit faster. But the key here is to progress a little bit at a time. You're not going to go from benching 60 to benching 80 in a week, or go from running 5k to a half marathon in a week. But you might go from 60 to 65 or 5k to 5.5k and then build from there. And then here's a quick video from my education library that explains one of the best ways to apply progressive overload to your weight sessions. One of the best ways to make the shift from exercising to training, especially when it comes to lifting weights, is to focus on what's called a rep range. And this is something that you will see within your workouts. So for example, let's say for your goals, your abilities, and the particular exercise that you're opting for, the perfect amount of reps that you want to aim for is 10. So your rep goal is 10. Well, at some point, if you keep increasing the weight, you won't get 10 reps. You'll either simply fail, so you just can't get it, or you might get it, but there'll be a breakdown in form. In other words, you might get the rep, but it'll look like shit. And then you also risk injuring yourself. And then if you're only aiming for a rep goal such as 10, you keep yourself stuck because there's no way for you to progress. But if we create a buffer either side of that rep goal, such as 8 and 12, then we create a rep range that we can aim for and then progress through. And let's say you can easily get 12 reps on a 10 kilogram weight. When you then take that weight up to 12, you might get 8 or 9 reps, but that's fine because you're within that rep range. And then over possibly a few weeks, you build that weight up to the end reps for all of your sets. Quick side note, a set is a group of reps, and typically you do 3 sets per exercise. But then once you can manage a certain weight for the end reps for all of the sets. So in this example, once you can manage 12 kilograms for 12 reps for 3 sets, you'd increase the weight again and repeat. And then this provides a very simple system for weight selection when you come to a new exercise. Simply pick a weight that you think you can get into that rep range with, and then if you easily manage the end number of reps, increase it. If you can't manage the starting number of reps with good form, decrease it. If you can only just manage to get into the rep range, or you manage to get to the end reps but it's pretty difficult and you don't think you can do that again, stick with that weight over time and simply repeat the process we've just spoke about. And that is rep ranges. So I hope that helps. So as you can see, making that switch from exercise into training could be the very thing that you need to do to finally start seeing the progress from the work that you're putting in. Because when you start training with some kind of structure, you stop guessing. You stop just going through the motions. Instead, you actually start making progress week after week. But if you don't have a plan that fits your goals, your abilities, and your schedule, it's easy to fall back into the habit of just exercising. And that's exactly why I've put together a free 7-day trial for my online coaching. So you can experience how structured training, simplified nutrition, and real accountability can help you. I'll leave the link for that in the description below so you can check it out. But I really hope this video helped. If it did, feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the others.